How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into 14P Fantasy. I am your host, Justin Wright. Today, we are talking more Dynasty strategy, specifically how to approach rookie drafts. And I'm not talking 2022 in specific. We have not broken down that class yet. We don't know combine scores, location. It's tough to have a strategy right now. We're just talking in general how you should approach a draft. It does carry over kind of year to year. We got 4 tips and tricks here to just get better at rookie drafting because it's hard, and missing on early first round picks sucks. And, it's a huge pain in the ass. So we all know that. Before we get into it though, remember guys, subscribe to the YouTube channel as we inch towards 1,000 subscribers. Like the video, comment questions, all that kind of stuff, other types of videos you'd like to see from us. We'll get it on our off-season list here. All right, let's get into it. Number 1, create rookie tiers. And by this, I mean, don't let, landing spot of a rookie overhaul your draft board. In reality, create rookie tiers before the combine, after the combine, so you're ready heading into the draft. Basically laying out, just like you would a startup draft, who are you going to prioritize over somebody else? Create your rankings and then tier that out, because it does create opportunities for you to trade back. If you're the number 1 overall pick and let's say you're not sold on Breece Hall, but you have Isaiah Spiller in the exact same tier as him, trade back 1 or 2 spots and maybe scoop him up in this draft along with extra draft capital. The whole idea of tiers is the NFL draft spot, barring a massive change in projected draft position, shouldn't really shift your draft board all that much. It can shuffle guys in the same tier, but it shouldn't have players jumping 1, 2 tiers because, again, talent wins out in the NFL. Situation is really important your freshman year, your rookie year. That makes more sense. But it's not the end-all, be-all, and situation changes extremely quickly. The perfect example is, was it 2 years ago now, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, Dobbins, and Cam Akers was my initial round 1 tier. CEH obviously went ahead of all of them. He was headlining that second tier of running backs for me. And because of that, I didn't reach for CEH. I traded out of the 101 in a draft I had, scooped up Jonathan Taylor and Swift. And that's how you have to navigate that. You shouldn't overhaul your draft board. That's very, very important. As good as those situations can look, stick to your tiers. And this is when I kind of touched on it. Draft talent over situation. If you want to use it as a tiebreaker because you're 100% unsure, that's fine. But typically, you should have an idea of who you think is best suited, for the NFL. And then, as long as they don't fall past like the 3rd round, stick with your evaluation. I'd rather be wrong on my gut than, make a last-second change and still end up being incorrect. So, again, talent over situation. Jonathan Taylor is an example of this. Deontay Johnson didn't land in an ideal situation. He has been fantastic. Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins, DeAndre Swift. None of those were great situations at the time. And now look at them. Cam Akers is going to, erupt onto the scene next year. I'm fully confident he comes back. Dobbins was behind Mark Ingram and Gus Edwards was there, and Dobbins was winning that job at the end of the season. Guys get buried. It doesn't matter. If they use draft capital and they're talented, they will eventually win out and they will dictate their situation. Moving on, and this is just in your rookie drafts, when you get to the middle of the 2nd round and those wide receivers that were no longer, drafted in the top 3 rounds of the NFL draft are sitting there, I am going to take the late round running back every single time. You're looking at your Alexander Madison's, Ramondre Stevenson, your Elijah Mitchell, compared to like Tylan Wallace or D. Eskridge or Dwayne Eskridge, who shouldn't have been a 2nd round pick. Guys like that where you're not 100% sold. You don't think they make an immediate impact in the NFL. So I'm going to take the running back because here's the thing. Running backs get hurt. A running back is much more likely to see the field as a late round pick in a meaningful role than a wide receiver is. And typically, if a running back doesn't make a splash year 1 or really have a role, you can move on. Wide receivers, if you take a guy, in the third round that was drafted late and you got to hold them for 2-3 years, seeing if that breakout is coming, you're just burning a roster spot. Running backs gain value the quickest. They also lose value the quickest, which means you can cut bait a lot sooner. Running backs are where you should target your late round draft picks almost exclusively. They pan out a whole lot more than those late round wide receivers that, just never have a true chance. And, you wait 3 years to find out. And this kind of rolls into our last one here. NFL draft capital matters. Yes, there are always outliers. Michael Carter in the 4th, Stephon Diggs, Antonio Brown, whoever else you want to name. I didn't prepare any names. Probably should have, but whatever. NFL draft capital matters. The best wide receivers, the best running backs are typically drafted in the top 3 rounds. And that's just a matter of fact. When you're looking at late round hit rates, running backs hit more often than wide receivers do because obviously significantly more wide receivers are drafted. And running back, the churn is so much higher that young guys tend to get a shot at some point, if they have juice. So late round running backs is where I will target, but wide receivers past the 4th round or later, I am typically never drafting or trying to trade away because I know somebody's obsessed with, again, I'll say it again, Tylan Wallace or someone like that. So, it's just not worth it. I trade out of those draft picks more often than not, but if you got a stick, I'll use it on a running back. Again, NFL draft capital is huge. Coaches are tied to players they believe in or spent enough capital on to make themselves believe in them, And if a team gives up on a early round pick, there's a good chance that player's just not very good. There's always the redemption story, but if they're a healthy scratch and they're a first, second round pick, they're probably not going to work out. Looking at Zach Moss, Terrace Marshall this year, Denzel Mims, those type of guys, the team was invested in them and they proved early on they're not worth it. So keep that in mind when you're also just evaluating players post-rookie draft. All right, guys, that is all I have for you. Short and sweet. If you got other tips and tricks or just other Dynasty strategy videos you're looking for, drop them below. We will make a video on whatever we can, whenever we can, obviously, with the season wrapping up here. All right, guys, remember, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And as always, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.